In the previous video, we talked about how a conversation tree of verbs and vocab is the structure that creates conversation. Structure is here, it's the foundation. And the purpose of structure is to support and create conversation, which are questions and answers. So the core principle of structure is that verbs and vocab mix and match to create conversation, and useful expressions play a part in there too, like okay, yes, and so on. In this video, we're going to move up to the conversation, questions and answers, and talk about the various core principles and best practices that have to do with that level. And this all comes together, by the way. It's not like, oh, we do structure for a month and then conversation for a month. These things arise together. It's like yin and yang. Structure and conversation are like yin and yang, like an infinity symbol. The more you converse, the better your structure. The more structure, the more conversation. They arise together. So if you're new to a language, actually, no matter what level you're at, the best teacher is a question. So if I'm advanced, you want to help me with my English, ask me a very advanced question, English, native language. Use the Socratic method, or like asking questions of the person until they reach enlightenment or something like that. Zen koans, what's the sound of one hand clapping, or so the question is the teacher. So even in the most advanced realms of stuff like philosophy and Zen. But setting all of that aside, coming all the way back to the year, I don't know any word in this new language. I'm just starting to learn Italian. Should I start making verb, vocab, conversation trees? Yeah, maybe. That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. But remember that the only reason you want to do that is because you're aiming for question, answer, conversation. So another way to do this, if you think of it as burning the candle at both ends, there's the structure side, there's the conversation side. You can go to ChatGPT and say, I'm a complete beginner in Italian or Vietnamese. Can you ask me 5 basic questions? Or 10 or 20. Start with 5. 5 questions. Ask me 5 questions in Russian. Completely new language. And it's going to go, okay, how are you? What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do for work? Take those questions and put them into a spreadsheet, and then put all of your focus into asking and answering those questions. So in one column you have the questions, the other column you have an answer. One answer is good. We don't need a complex answer here. We just want a simple answer, like, how are you? I'm fine. What's your name? My name is this. Where are you from? I'm from here, right? That list will grow, but to begin with, keep it simple. Why? Because we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. You're learning to say the things you want to say. You're learning to have the conversation you want to have. You're beginning the back and forth of question and answers. But you're also being able to extract the structural patterns from the conversation. One of the mantras in this method is conversation teaches structure, right? Structure creates conversation. Conversation teaches structure. That's one of the trippiest aspects of it. The language teaches itself. So you're looking to identify patterns and go, oh, I see. You're looking to extract verbs and realizing, the verb contains the vocabulary. I am, right? Where are you from? The question comes at you. Question's at the top of the page. It's the heading. Question's up here. Where are you from? Question's coming at you. You got to find a way to answer it. You can use a verb starting point. Shoot down the question, Space Invader style. You realize I am contains vocabulary. Imagine a cup with the verb I am on the front of it. Now imagine all the things you could write on little pieces of paper and put them into the cup. Put that cup on a shelf. Take it off. Oh, whenever you need to say, you know. Next question, oh, where do you live? Oh, I live in here. I live in there. What's the sound of one hand clapping? I think it sounds like, no matter what, it's question, answer, verb, vocabulary. Go back to video 2, the language learning compass. Question, answer, verb, vocab. Questions and answers are conversation. Verb and vocabulary are structure. Structure supports conversation. Structure is verb, vocab, useful expressions. Conversation is questions and answers. In this video, we're talking about the back and forth of questions and answers. So now I've got this list of questions that I'm learning from and practicing. How will I know when I've learned it? Well, you need someone to quiz you and give you an OPI, oral proficiency interview, where they test how proficient you are in speaking by asking you questions. You can hire a teacher to do this. You can ask your friend to do this. You could have someone that doesn't even speak the language, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know. One way to do it is conversation cards. Write your question here, and then shuffle and pull out the question. So put all your questions onto these cards. Shuffle, pull one out, and you have to answer the one that comes out. What else is there to say about that? It's like a martial art. At this point it becomes like a gentle, peaceful martial art, where my question pushes you, puts pressure on you, and you need to push back against the question. That's how you build muscle, through resistance. If you don't have any resistance, it's like, oh, I'm lifting weights without any weights in my hand. Like, you need the resistance of a question, me asking you, and then maybe asking for detail, asking for you to clarify. Not getting what you said. Sorry, you said what? You did the what? The who? Who, what? You have to push back against that. That's the practice you need. So if the push and the push and pull of conversation is like a martial art, the only way to practice that martial art is by doing it. This is where it becomes very clear, like, you need to practice doing that. You can't just read about it any more than you could like learn to box just by playing like the Mike Tyson Nintendo game or something. Like, this is where muscle memory comes into play. So I think that's all the points that need to be made on conversation. There's this is still theory. We're still talking. This is still the intro kind of thing. When we get into the game of conversation, there are a number of strategies that will help you within the conversation game. For now, all you got to remember is that you're using structure to support conversation. It's not too early. This is the final thought. It's not too early to pull up a list of questions from ChatGPT and then a list of the corresponding answers and get right into training those questions and answers. Conversation is the means and the end. The goal is to be conversational, unless it's, ancient Greek. And it's the means to the end. Practice how you play, right? Play is the back and forth of ideas. Practice how you play, which is training questions and answers.